Hello, everybody, and welcome. Good afternoon to the Africam Show. I'm so glad to be here with you, with me, Tishala. And we have my favorites to start with. Some elephants that are enjoying themselves with a bit of water, some drinking, some splashing about. And we saw these elephants earlier, and I was so hoping that they would stick around. Because for me, there's no sighting like an elephant sighting. They're always doing something, and one of them even moving around the camel, at least trying to. You might see a few smudges. That's from the elephant earlier that was having a go at the cam. So remember that it's live and interactive. Oh, look at this. So close. Live and interactive, everyone. So send through your questions and your comments. You know how much I love your questions, and I love to have these wonderful discussions with you all. To start us off, we have Mindy Philippau. I hope I said that correctly. You say, any day I can learn something new from Trishala is a great day. Oh, I hope that today will be a great day too then. I love learning from all of you as well. And that's why I always encourage the interaction, because we all learn something. And I found that the more I learn about what goes on biologically or chemically or ecologically with these animals and the environment, the more I realize that there's so much more to learn. And we kind of get on this journey together when we have this time. Nikita says, hi everyone. Can't wait for today's show. So exciting. Hope you guys are doing good. Yes, we hope that everybody is doing very well. And if you weren't doing so well, that's okay too. Now you have half an hour to spend with me in the African bush for a little bit. Oh, Aussie Jan too. It's Aussie Jan, everyone. She says coffee is ready to drink. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Aussie Jan. Amber Cole says, thank you, Trishala. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to all of you as well. We've got a little one that's come to join now. So this happens quite often. So I said to you that before, when we were looking at the camp, before we started, we saw the herd come through. And sometimes if we just see this group in isolation, we might think that this is a herd on its own. But in fact, a herd moves through much like the family at a birthday party. Some come through now, and then they eat first, and then they go and sit down and do something else while the kids play, and then the next family comes through. But they're all part of the same herd or the same family when we're talking about the human context. But they move through at different rates. Some might eat a little bit extra before they come to the water. Some might be so thirsty they head to the water first, or very hot, and so they head to the water first to cool down. So this is all part of the same herd, just moving at different rates. And you can see this little distracted by some fresh leaves coming up there too. I think there's nothing better than getting a snack and a drink at the same time. We've got Bill Grooms that says, good morning, everyone. Beautiful day here in sunny South Carolina. I'm so glad that you're able to join us. We've got Bob from Kalamazoo. Hi, Bob. You say, good day, Trishala. My coffee is a Diet Coke. I mean, Bob, I will tell you the truth. Coffee for me doesn't perk me up as much as a Coke does. It's true. John says, good afternoon, Trishana, from a sunny Florida. And Lisa Widmer White says, good day, everyone. It's a cold and rainy day here in Washington State. I was just about to say that everybody in the state seems to be having or enjoying a sunny day, but Lisa says not quite. Ellen Winkler says hi from New York City. Gert from the Netherlands says good day, Trish. Cindy Drake says hello, Africam, Trishana, and wildlife lovers. Michael S says hello and good morning, Trish from North Carolina. And he also says, what a close-up. What a close-up indeed. We've had many close-ups, but I think, Michael, you're referring especially to that slightly awkward close-up there. And my thought just before we went into these hellos was that the elephant has this benefit that pretty much no other animal except perhaps primates and us have, and that is the ability to move and feed and poop at the same time. They can move around on all fours and still feed with their trunk. They can still scratch themselves. And it's quite a unique ability. Little one. It's front and center now. Gemma says, good day all. A foggy morning to start the day here in New Jersey. Good day to you, Gemma. Rolling Trouble. Hi, Rolling Trouble says hi from Washington. And Dia NC says, good morning from Seattle. Ready for the show with your coffee. Everyone has their coffee except for Bob from Kalamazoo, of course, with his Diet Coke. Becky WV says, hello, beautiful day here in West Virginia. You love the elephants. Yes, I love the elephants too. So before we move on, I'd like to spend some time here. I want to talk about, especially if you have a look at the baby, it actually looks like a bull to the right of it that is missing part of its tusk. So you can see that its left tusk is fine, but the right tusk is broken. Yes, it is a bull. It looks like an old injury, but that can be really, really, really painful for any elephant, because essentially it's the same as us breaking a tooth. Now I say breaking because it's not chipping a tooth. Often the ends of the tusks do get chipped, and they might become a little bit sharper. They might chip to become more blunt, and that type of break doesn't really cause much injury because it's not getting down to the pulp. But this one, you can see he's lifting his head up now. You can see how close to the pulp, or to where that modified tooth, which is what a tusk is actually attached into the jaw. It's broken off really close there. That would have been very, very painful for him when it had happened. And you'd actually be able to see. So recently I saw an elephant, or I'd like to say I met an elephant, who had recently broken his tusk just like this, very close to the skin. And his whole side of his trunk there was swollen, so swollen, and he couldn't eat on that side. It all looked very painful for him. He was very sensitive. But just like us, they will recover pretty well. Gosh, they all stood still there, talking to each other. It also made me want to stop talking. Again, just the baby that's not paying attention. Everyone else is still. And there we go. I love when we see them talking, because normally that's something that we hear. So just to wrap up on the tusk there, a tusk is a modified incisor tooth. So any type of pain that you can imagine with the nerve and the pulp and blood vessels in that area, the same exists in a tusk, just a bit longer. So there's a little bit more room for there to be chips that don't affect it painfully. but when it does get down just like that, it can hurt a lot. Oh, hello, little baby. Have you just discovered that there's something moving around here? Look at the ears held out like that. Curious, unsure what this is. And it's very difficult. They won't usually pick up on the cam because the cam is very small and quite inconspicuous. But it could have been the movement that caught its attention. Or maybe it was just looking in this direction and I felt special for us. It's interesting that this little one is hanging out with about 3 bulls here. Very sweet. Cindy Drake, you said, you were wondering if it was a bull. He is huge. Yeah, it looks like the last 4 that we were looking at here, or in fact the last 4 that are here now, are all bulls. They don't look terribly old, but it's a very difficult thing to say or to judge if you're not looking at them in relation to the cows or looking at them in person. Through the cam, it's kind of difficult if there isn't something else to judge the size against. Lisa, you say that hurt to have an open, exposed tooth, right? Absolutely, it would have hurt a lot. One of the things that at least I've seen them do, so I've seen an elephant with a toothache, or rather it was a chipped tusk. So I'm assuming it was a toothache that it was suffering from. And what it did was it went over a termite mound. So this is in the low veld where we get the fungus-growing termites that grow that have these chimneys where they keep a constant temperature in the mound of about 37 degrees Celsius. So you can even put your hand down into a hole of the termite mound. We just got splashed, everyone. And if you put your hand in, it'll be warm. And so I saw this big bull who had this chipped tusk put his mouth over the mound and over a chimney. And I would imagine that the heat from the chimney may have actually soothed it in some way. I certainly know, when you have a toothache and you put something warm against the side of your head, by your ear, your cheek, it offers to wonder if that's what the bull was doing. But certainly that would have hurt Lisa, absolutely. Michael S., you asked, could it be from fighting or from something else? It could be from fighting, but there would have to already be some kind of tiny fracture in the tusk for it to be broken off completely in that kind of fashion from fighting. It could be, as in when I say from fighting, I mean from a single fight. What could have happened is it may have been cracked in one fight, and then, the crack becomes larger and larger, and then eventually it breaks like this. But usually breaking trees or mounds, things won't break a tusk because there's some leeway when it comes to those things. The actual material can be pushed. So I would imagine it would be another tusk that caused that injury, or a rock even. But something would have to be something really hard. And we've got Marie Claude that says, hi Trish from France. And we've got, I hope I say that clearly, Husila. Good morning from Reno, Nevada. Mary Momo says, hi Trishala from a much needed rainy day in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And we've got Susan Hogson says, hello from Havelock, Ontario, Canada. Thank you guys. Oh, Kathy Barton says, poor guy. Poor guy indeed. But Kathy, they're so resilient. We see it with animals in the wild all the time. The types of recoveries animals can make is just staggering. Some animals look like they're at death's door, and they will bounce back and reproduce. It's a great show of resilience, I think. Nikita, you say, do the mud cakes and those wrinkles, does it not make them hotter? I totally understand what you mean because that's initially what I had thought as well. Like, doesn't it just add extra weight? Doesn't it just make, close up pores and make the whole them just hotter? But that only makes sense to us because the way that we cool down is by sweating. And so if we had mud caked on us, yes, initially it would feel nice and cool, but then we would start to get hot and we would want to sweat and allow evaporative cooling to cool us down. But elephants don't sweat. So for them, that type of the cooling from the mud is a greater advantage than feeling a little bit warm after it dries up. And remember, once it dries up, they'll pull it off again or they'll wet it again. Hello, little. Come on, come say hi. Oh, lovely. Carl Campbell says, beautiful. I'll let them know, Carl. You all are beautiful. I feel like they know it. Kathy Barton says, what a great sighting today. Thanks so much, Trishala. You love these animals. I love them too. Pat, you say the bulls don't seem to mind? Seem to mind the injury? Certainly not. Not any longer, at least. And even when it would have just happened, they would keep on going. It's just part of life, and before they know it, they've recovered, and it's not really a problem anymore. So there, the bull on the left seems to be testing the urine of this younger, what I'm going to assume is a cow. I haven't been able to take. So then he's put his trunk back into his mouth. Now I'm looking at the bull on the extreme left, the one with the broken tusk. And that's the reason really that bulls would be following breeding herds. That's both to actually successfully mate, but also to, especially with the younger bulls, it's kind of to practice in a way. Try and figure out, how do I really detect who's an estrus? How do I behave when I am in a breeding herd? How do I behave around other bulls that are larger than me, that are contending within the breeding herd for the same females I want to? So it's a huge learning process. Michael, yes, absolutely. You say the little one is wanting to be bullied. I'm quite surprised that these little ones, there's this one here and there was the other little one, amongst the bulls that seem to be pretty chilled, especially that last one almost looked like it wanted to be one of the guys there, one of the bulls at the waterhole. So this calf belongs to this female that's walking by now, this cow. And we really got a good idea of the size difference there as she walked by. So now this is a much younger bull that's approached her. I mean, compared to the bull with the broken tusk. He's just a little bit larger than she is. She's being very still. This is actually a good time to answer another question that's from 5 Girls. You wanted to know, how can I tell it's a bull elephant versus a female? So females are much smaller than bulls. And we're just going to have a look at her forehead. So hopefully she'll give us a profile again. But her forehead is quite square. Can you see that? Her head is quite square as it merges from the head down to the forehead and the nose. Bulls it's a little bit rounder, and this is more pronounced as they age. But otherwise, 5 girls, the easiest way to tell a bull from a female or from a cow is to simply look between their legs, because bulls quite obviously have a penis and a penis sheath that is completely lacking in the females. Ah, Pat, you say that you meant that the bulls don't seem to mind the presence of the baby. I also thought that they were seem to be very gentle, and there have definitely been times when bulls can be quite not. I mean, there certainly have been occasions where bulls have killed little calves, especially if they're in a bit of a frenzy and they can smell that these hormones associated with having given birth, and they can sometimes confuse that with the hormones associated with being an estrus, and they can get into a bit of a frenzy. And there have been incidents where bulls have killed calves, but that's very unusual. What is more usual is when bulls um, will not be particularly welcoming to the calves. So this was a really nice little situation because these bulls were pretty much didn't, like you said, Pat, didn't mind at all that the baby was around. And at one time, even I think the one bull touched the baby, and that's something I would expect with older bulls that are a little more used to the presence of youngsters, and also know that the presence of youngsters with their mum means that they can't mate with their mum. Whereas the younger bulls, like we said when we are talking about how it's a whole learning experience, with the younger bulls, they will still try their luck with females who have young calves, even though they will not be in estrus. Kathy, you say I can't imagine the force it would take to break a tusk like this. I know it must have really been something to witness. In fact, it might be quite painful to witness it. It's painful for the elephant, but still, it would be hard to witness. Kathy, you also say I'm amazed at how strong and resilient wild animals are. And the smaller animals, so tough. Absolutely. It's not just confined to the large animals. Small animals are also very, very tough. The amount of agamas I've seen with half a tail, with half a foot, snakes missing the tips of their tails, and they just carry on. Wild animals are incredibly resilient, and that's why I never like to say that some injury is a death sentence for an animal, because they can surprise you and spring right back. Gen X Jen, hello. You say hello from break day from break in Northern California. Good morning. You say hello. You're a new watcher. Oh, we're so glad to have you on board. Then you say that you see many elephants and one lifts its leg and swings it. Is it just resting the leg? So it's not resting the leg. Just excuse those bars there. That's just to make sure that the camera is in a nice protected area. So what it's doing is it's not resting its leg. Usually when they pick up one leg and they start to swing it, they're communicating infrasonically. So that's sound waves that are not perceptible by us. They're below our threshold of hearing. There's a couple theories as to why they do that. One is triangulation. So if they have 3 feet on the ground, it creates a triangle, and that makes it easier for them to detect where the sound waves are coming, where they're traveling from on the ground or on the ground. The other is that it could just be some form of concentration. So what we're seeing now with that back leg, that's what they do when they want to rest a leg, usually. They just kind of put it on its heel. Ah, there we've got our one tusker. The Gen X Gen. I'm so glad that you're able to join us, and we hope that you'll be a regular. Then keep your questions coming. Bree MacArthur says, hi Trishana and everyone. Hi Bree. Thank you for joining us. Oh, look at this. What a great close-up of the skin and all those wrinkles. Perfect for trapping water. Belinda DeSinger, you say, Trishala, when baby elephants are figuring out how to use their trunks accidentally, and then she doesn't complete the sentence. She instead sends two of the smiling poop emojis. Um, do they accidentally poop? I'm not sure, but Belinda, if you feel like always send through some clarity for me. I can't say I've ever seen trunk use and pooping associated with one another. Apart from them eating and pooping at the same time, which does happen. Nikita, you want to know if the baby's mother is close by, or if the let me read that correctly. Is the mother close to this baby? Yes. So babies, especially babies that are about under 5 years old, they will almost always be in tow with their mother. So baby elephants are weaned between 3 and 5 years old, and during that time, mom is almost always close by. So you can assume that the cow that is closest to the baby would be its mother. Oh, those were some really thick tusks there. And this bull looks like it's the last of the elephants to pass through here. They often are. Bachelor groups like this will follow the breeding herd, as we said earlier, and they almost always, bring up the rear. So if you see them pass and a waterhole looks like a lot of movement has been happening in it, it is likely that a breeding herd has gone past before them. And now he's gone past. Martha Jaggers, you say you absolutely love Africa. Africa is my favorite place on earth. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that Africa is your favorite place on earth. You say hello, and you say hello from Martha in Tupelo, Mississippi, known as the birthplace of Elvis Presley. Well, how appropriate. I just watched the movie recently, a couple days back. And now we have what looks like a juvenile. Juvenile fish eagle, maybe? We'll have a closer look now. Dear NC says, does the broken tusk keep growing? It will keep growing if the pulp has not been damaged. So just like your tooth, if the pulp has not been damaged, it will keep growing. But if the pulp is damaged, then the nerve is damaged and a whole lot of growth will stop. Martha Jaggers, you also wanted to know what is the normal lifespan of elephants. In the wild, their lifespan is about sorry, I turned out the comment. About 50 to 60 years, exceptionally 70 years in the wild. Belinda said, LOL, I love you, Trishala. Yeah, Belinda, but you didn't tell me what your poop emojis mean. Thank you. I love spending time with all of you again. Okay. So let me pay attention now. This looks like a juvenile fish eagle to me. If we could zoom in a little bit, I say juvenile because it's looking a bit tatty, and juveniles tend to kind of look a little bit awkward, but I also like them because they look very unique. Their feathering comes in at different times, and it's quite patchy. So you'll never have a juvenile that looks exactly like another juvenile because the rate of different colors emerging is different. So I think that they're unique and beautiful. And it's also very easy to be able to tell if it's a fish eagle because of the big front white bib. The only other one that you would maybe get juvenile fish eagle confused with is an osprey, and you wouldn't see them in this area. Okay, Belinda. Answered your question. Last couple comments before we sign off. Ellen Winkler says, I was on safari in Africa several years back, and this brings back wonderful memories. This is very informative and beautiful. Thanks so much. Also, seeing people here from all around the globe. Isn't that the most wonderful thing, Ellen, is that we can all come together and in real time watch what's happening in the bush live and interact and talk and discuss and learn together and have a bit of fun. I think that's the best thing about shows like this, and that's what makes me so happy to do them. Okay, I think that it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that we got to spend all that time with the elephants and have these wonderful discussions. So I'll see you again soon. Hopefully not maybe next week, not sure, but I'll definitely see you on Thursday. So goodbye everyone, and thanks for joining us.